Hey guys, welcome to Edit Tutorials, and this video is going to be all about a masterclass on Shotcut video editing software. So we'll be learning the whole process of editing in Shotcut, starting from setting up the project to exporting it. When you open the software for the first time, this is how it will look. So there will be a few default options right here, but I have changed them. I've used the software before. So there will be a little bit of change, but don't worry, I'll explain them. So to start a new project, as you can see, this is where we'll have to do it. And there are three main options here: projects folder, project name, and video mode. So project folder is basically going to show you the path in which you will be saving the project, right? So if you want to change the path, all you have to do is click on here and you can change it wherever you want. Now, I want it in this folder in Shotcut Masterclass. So I'll select the folder and here we have it, the project folder. Now you can name the project anything you want. I will go with Masterclass Shotcut. All right. And video mode here, when you open it for the first time, it will be in automatic. Now, if you have shot all your videos in one camera without changing the settings, or if you have downloaded all your videos from a single source and the dimensions and frame rate do not change, then automatic should work perfectly fine. However, for this project, I have downloaded the video footages from various sources and I don't know if they are of the same dimensions, right? So what I'll do is I will give it my own dimension and my own FPS. So once I've done all this, this is the setting up part. I'll press start. So once I do this, this disappears and it will look blank, right? And this can be a little bit intimidating, but don't worry, it's actually quite simple. But before starting, let me explain these two windows here. This is the playlist window here, or the playlist section, and it's going to show all the video files, the audio files, and basically any file we import will be here. This is the preview window. So since we haven't imported anything into the software, this is blank. But let me import and then show you guys how it will look. So I have my video files here and one audio file as well. Let me select them all, and importing is actually quite simple. I select them all like I just did and bring them into the software. Just drag them into the playlist section here. So once you do that, as you can see, the preview window also opens up. So this is how you import files, but now we'll be moving to the most important section of the whole software, arguably the most important, that is timeline. So this segment, this window, is where most of the editing will take place. So make sure that you get comfortable with this window here. And most of the options that we'll be talking about today is going to be in the timeline. There's also another window here called keyframes, but don't worry about this. This is a bit advanced. For now, let's just deal with timeline, right? So how do I import videos onto timeline? Because if there are no videos in timeline, we simply can't edit, right? So it can be done two ways. You can import the videos onto timeline in two ways. First method is simple. Just click on the first video, come here and click on the plus button. You can also use A as a shortcut, right? And I suggest you guys use shortcuts because they really increase the speed of your editing, or you'll just be using the mouse to navigate everywhere and that's a big headache. So let me import another video, right? Let me double click on the second video and just click on plus. And as you can see, the video will be imported, right? So this is how you import video. And suppose you want to remove a video, right? That is quite intuitive. Just click on minus and the video will be removed. There's also another method of importing video from playlist onto timeline. Just drag the video and drop it onto the timeline and the video will be imported, right? So these are the two methods. So now that you're comfortable with importing using plus and minus, these two options can be important as well. So as you can see, if I click on the first video and click on minus, suppose I don't want the first video, you can see that the second video takes its place. Now let's say I don't want that, right? I want this place, the whole place where the first video is. Let's say I want it to be empty, right? And I want the second video to be where it is. In that case, I can just click on this upward arrow here. And you can see that the first video goes back to the playlist, or rather gets deleted from the timeline. And the second video is where it is, right? So that is what the up arrow is used for. The down arrow does the exact opposite of what the upper arrow does. So let me undo what I just did now so that the first video is imported. So now that you are comfortable with the importing and deleting tools, let's come to the actual editing part where we start trimming the videos, right? That is where this option comes in, right? And this option is called split at playhead. The shortcut for this is S, right? So this option does a simple job. So this is the playhead, and let's say I move it somewhere along the video and click on this button. So what it does is that it splits the video into two parts. So this became the second video, right? And this is still the first video, right? So this option, you can split the video into two parts, right? And suppose you don't need the second part of this video, all you have to do is again click on minus, or you can also click on delete if you want to, and the software essentially removes that part and brings the second video closer here. Right now I obviously don't want that, and let me also remove the split. So this is the marker tool. These are the marker tools. So you don't need them as of now. All you have to know is that when I apply this tool, a marker comes in. So you can use this as a reference, or if you don't want to cut a video for now but you want to know the point exactly where you want to cut it, you can use this tool. But for now, let's not worry too much about marker and these two options. Now coming to this part, right? This is very important. You can see a magnet here, you can see a sort of target button here, right? So these options are quite useful. A magnet is actually quite helpful if you want to know where you're placing your video, right? Now suppose this second video, I drag it towards the first video, you can see that it's sort of attracting, they're sort of attaching like two magnets, right? So that is what this magnet tool here does, right? So if I switch that off, you can see that the videos are not behaving like magnets anymore. Like they are not attracting, right? They're not attaching to each other. The second video is just superimposing on the first video. I sort of like this magnet tool, so I'll just use this, right? So I can get a reference on where I'm cutting and where I'm placing another video, right? Another great way to edit without using the, split at playhead is by just dragging the end of the video towards where you want to edit, right? A simple way can be just, clicking on the end of the video. So when you go towards the end of the video, you get this red mark, right? Just click when that mark appears and drag the video leftwards. Now you have edited. Now let's say you want to delete this space, right? Just right click and click on remove. So as you can see, this happens. So instead of splitting the video, clicking on the second video and then hitting delete, you can just drag around, right? You can just drag the second video and it gets the job done. So now this target option is actually quite important as well. So now let me switch off this option and show you guys what happens when I sort of move the second video here onto the first video. So if I bring it here, you can see that the second video actually cut the first video, and the video was sort of superimposed on the pre-existing video, right? So let's say you don't want that, right? You don't want that to happen, and you just want the second video to take the position of the first video. You don't want to superimpose, but you just want it to take its place. So that is where this target button comes in. So if you choose that option and move the second video onto the first video, you can see that the video has not superimposed, but instead it has just taken its place, right? So that is why we use this target option. So now you guys can use these options to, sort of import other videos as well. Drag onto timeline, split it playhead and edit, or drag and edit. You get a number of options here, and you can do that. But in Shotcut, what I would suggest you guys do is, first let me clear the timeline. So in Shotcut, an easier way of editing is just selecting the files that you want, all the files that you want, and importing them at once, right? Shotcut actually makes editing a lot easier this way. Now let's say I want to trim this video quite a bit. Let's say 3 seconds should do. Yeah. So I'll drag this all the way, right, to 3 seconds. I want this video to end at, let's say, somewhere here. I'm doing just a random editing. This is not perfect in any sense. So let's say this works. Now let's say I want to take the widest shot, right? The most wide shot, and place it first. So let's come here. This is the widest shot because, it's showing the forest as a whole. So I'll drag this first. There we have it. Let me decrease this by a bit. Yes. Let's look for the second widest shot. Well, this could work, but something more wide. Yeah, this should work, right? So my idea here, what I'm trying to say is, I'm going with a very wide shot at first. I'm setting up the mood. We call this extreme wide shot, and I'm slowly concentrating on the car here, on the car that's coming up. Now, interestingly, in these videos, you can see that there are 2 black boxes, right? So this is exactly why I set the sequence settings to 1080p in the beginning itself. If I hadn't done that, and let's say I had imported this video first, by default, it would have kept this video setting as the timeline setting as well. So that is why when you're dealing with various shots, I suggest you set up, or rather you choose a preset, right? So now let's say I want to zoom in on this because I don't want these 2 black boxes, and I also don't want to re-export the video somewhere else and change its settings and import again. So the easier way of doing it is coming here to filters, right? Clicking on plus here and type size. We already have size here. So it's on my favorites bin. So that made my life a lot easier. So if I select that, you can see that I get an option here to zoom. Now, obviously I want this more than 100. 110 does the work. Yeah, 110 should do the work. Now let's see if there are any other videos similar to that. Yeah, there's another video here. So I'll do the same thing. I'm already in filters. I'll click on plus and I'll try to increase the size. 113 should do ideally. So this is how you add video effects and add filters to the videos on your timeline. I've done more in-depth tutorials on this, so if you need it, I'll link them on the top right corner and you can check them out later on. They'll also be in the description as well. So coming back to playlist now. So I have edited my videos. You guys have seen the various options. Now, how do I add music, right? So again, it's the same thing, but if you just drag the music, sort of, try to be inserted on the same track as the videos. And since we haven't added another track, they won't play simultaneously. So the main reason we are importing music is to play the music simultaneously with the videos, right? So to add music, what I'll do is right click on the timeline section here, go to track operations and click on add audio track. So once I do that, you can see that an audio track is added here. Let me just pull this up a bit. You can see that A1 has appeared here. So all I have to do then is just drag this onto the timeline. So you can see that the audio has been imported. Now again, I don't want the audio to be this long, and I don't want to scroll all the way to sort of drag this first. So as you can see, the audio is on. So if you don't want the audio to be on when you're editing, you can just click this button to switch it off. But make sure you switch it on again when you're exporting, or you won't get the audio in the final output, right? So instead of dragging, we have another option. And if you remember, that is split at playhead. So once I do that, the audio file has been sort of split into two, and I'll just delete the second file. So you can see that now we have an audio for the visuals, right? So let me just play and see how the edit has come out. So that was the edit. So that was the edit, and it's a very small edit, but you can see that the audio sort of ended very abruptly there, right? So if you don't want the audio to end that abruptly, what you can do is go to the top right corner of the audio track here. So on both the top left and top right corner, you get these blinking dots. So these dots can actually add effects to your audio or to your video. I've explained this in depth and they are a little complicated, so don't worry about it for now. But just know that if you drag that blinking dot leftwards, it sort of creates this fade effect to the audio. Let me just play the audio again. So you can see that the audio sort of faded before ending. So this was the basic edit. I think I'm done and I'm happy with the whole edit, right? So now I have to export whatever I've edited. So I come all the way up here, right? To export, you have to click on export, right? So the export window appears here. Now let this always be on timeline, because remember that is where we do all our editing. So let this be on timeline, And you can choose anything you want. You have YouTube here, so the software encodes for YouTube, and you have a lot of options here. But my favorite is H.264 high profile. This is basically an MP4 file, and this also retains the quality of the video. So I have chosen this. So I click on that and I click on export file. So the software asks me the location. I'm happy with where it is, and I'll press save. Now, if you want to see the final edit, this is how it would have come out. So that was the video, guys. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please do consider subscribing. It motivates me to do more such tutorials. And if you think anyone can use the video or can gain value from it, do share it with them as well. So I hope you like Shotcut. It's actually a great software, and I hope you guys experiment more with it. That's it from my side. Bye for now. I'll see you in the next video.